Networks don't talk about it. Government can't tax it. But sports betting is a $200 billion a year business.
That's a major U.S. Supreme Court ruling that could open the door for legalized sports betting all across the country.
The Supreme Court is giving the green light for states to determine on their own whether they want to legalize sports gambling.
Tell Donahue his next pick is good for 20 grand, but I need him to guarantee a win, okay? I need a lock.
He's not that fucking good.
No, Tommy, he has to. All right, he has to, or else they're going to kill me. Do you realize this, Tommy? They're going to fucking kill me. I can't afford to gamble anymore. I need a fucking lock.
It is that time of the week again. Welcome into another episode of Lock Talk. Really, and just an NFL episode. We're not going to talk a whole lot of college football. It is NFL Week 14. It is myself, Jake O'Kane. Joined with me today, my boy Izik is back. Izik, thanks for joining us again with Joe.
What up?
Hiatus. See if Izik can't back up a very strong first showing a couple of weeks back. Izik, we got a decent weekend, a lot of low totals. We'll run through pretty much everything. Housekeeping shit before we do. Not a whole lot. The app, the Lock Talk app right now has a competition going on. It is a season-long competition. It is heating up as we're going down the stretch. Make sure that you are interacting with everybody else's picks and you can build your way up the leaderboard. Other than that, make sure you're always checking there throughout the week during bowl season. That's where I'm going to leave a lot of my bowl predictions. Wait on those, though. Really don't like giving those out too early. We don't really know who's going to play for what teams. Guys are jumping in and out of the portal. It's kind of chaos. Florida State got fucked, but in this 4 playoff team scenario with 5 power conferences, somebody was always going to get fucked. But Murphy, I don't want to talk college football. I really want to just talk NFL. So let's talk Thursday night football. We unfortunately don't get a great game. It's the Patriots currently sitting 6.5 against the Steelers. Funny total, sitting at 30. I think it may have. Did it creep up from 30? Oh, nope, still 30.
30.
Sit here on Wednesday. Ugly, man. Kenny's out for Pittsburgh. He had surgery on Monday. It is Mitch Trubisky versus Bailey Zappi. Murphy, I don't have a lean in this game. I don't hate the under. The Patriots have they've lost 3 straight games, but have allowed teams to 10 or less. And the Steelers have a very good defense. So
yeah, we saw that last game against the Chargers. What was it, 6-0?
It's the only team I've ever seen just cover without scoring a touchdown. I don't know how. I had LA, so I don't care. But I had a money line. I paid up to get a money line just under -200, and honestly, I still didn't feel comfortable at all.
Yeah, no, that was a brutal game. Really
as bad
brutal.
As it gets. This one, Pittsburgh is laying 6.5. I can't lay 6.5 with Mitch Trubisky.
Yeah,
even against the Patriots, it's a lot of points. But I also can't take an under at 30, but I can't bet over when the Patriots have. There's a lot of contradicting shit that I don't care for. Game time weather is going to be actually pretty decent, 42 degrees. New England hasn't covered in 5 straight. The total has gone under in 9 of their last 11 games. Pittsburgh, 11-5 against the spread in their last 16, but the under's gone in 9 of their last 10. Everything points to that under, but 30. It's the ultimate. If you bet an under at 30, Murphy, do you even watch the game?
probably not.
I couldn't imagine you watch the game. You look at these teams offensively just running through it. New England's the 31st in scoring. Pittsburgh's 28th. Pittsburgh's 28th in passing. New England's 23rd. New England's 23rd in rushing. Pittsburgh does crack the top half of the league at 15. Shout out to Warren. It's the only reason that they do that. Time on the field. These teams are both bottom 5 in that category. It's terrible. They're also bottom 5 in yards per play. Yuck, yuck, yuck. Maybe we find some props right now. I hard pass, right?
Props would probably be. I would probably do something with the running backs, either Zeke or Najee Harris. Attempts, maybe Najee Harris touchdown.
Najee Harris touchdown, I don't hate at all. Yeah, to me,
Zeke
it's
yards too, possibly. He's actually not that
who's
bad.
that?
Zeke,
Oh yeah,
because
Zeke. So
Stevenson's out, so Zeke
I
is gonna be
I picked Zeke up, and I'm actually starting him in fantasies. He's
Pitts.
projected 13 fantasy points.
Pittsburgh's rush defense. They've allowed 1,400 yards this season.
A little shaky.
So I think Zeke could maybe break one and probably cover yards. I don't even know what his yard line is at, but I'm sure it's probably not super high.
I would agree with you. So yeah, that'll be Thursday night. We'll see how that goes. Moving to our Sunday games, I'm going to start in New York. Texans against the Jets. R.I.P. Tank Dell. Oh my God,
that sucks.
blows.
My wide receiver core in fantasy is damaged right now, but I got Jefferson coming back this week.
Damaged is tough. Houston, interesting. So this thing opened at Houston laying 5.5. Currently at 3.5. I have Houston at 5.5 like a schmuck. Didn't expect this to get bet down for the Jets. It's going to be Trevor Siemian. It's Tim Boyle got cut, so it's Trevor Siemian. I can't imagine Houston unless I'm missing something. Yeah, I don't know what I'd be missing.
Yeah, no, that's it is 70% chance of rain, I'm pretty sure, with 16 mile per hour winds.
Wait, I didn't even see this. This must have happened today. Zach Wilson is the starter.
Oh, is he?
Oh, I love this. I might bet it again. With what Zach Wilson said. I mean, oh my God.
So they're really giving him another chance, huh?
They're giving him another chance, even after he was like, I don't know if I want to come back. I'm a little reluctant to come back. They're letting him come back. I love it now. I teased them. This makes me happy. I teased them to +0.5, which could do +1/2, and I also laid 5.5. To me, this is a Texans all day long, even with Zach Wilson back. Houston, tight AFC South race right now. They're currently on the outside looking in as far as the playoffs go. And again, it's Trevor Siemian. I can't state that enough. To me, it's all Texans all day long. 33 was the total. I'd imagine with Wilson, the total went up a little bit. Oh, wow. Went up to 39.5? No, that can't be right. No. My screen's all fucked up.
It is
33 still. Okay.
Okay.
This makes more sense. So it opened at 39.5. It moved down to 33. Zach Wilson is chaos. I don't think there's any chance.
In the rain too, with 60 mile per hour winds.
Yeah, it's gonna be absolutely miserable weather.
I would take Brees Hall receptions if we're talking props, because they're gonna check down. He'll probably have like 6 receptions because they ain't gonna throw deep, and
no, not in that.
That's the only way they're gonna be able to move the ball, pretty much. So, yeah,
I actually like that. Brees Hall is.
If we're talking props, I would probably say for that game, receptions, Brees, whatever it is, probably hammer it, whatever it is, 3.5, 2.5.
Absolutely. Moving on, Tampa, Atlanta. Tampa currently +1.5. Falcons, this thing opened at 2.5. Total is 39.5. Tampa, they are beat up, man. Levante David, Devin White, Jamal Dean, all questionable for Sunday. That defense is gutted. The Falcons won back-to-back games for the first time this year. This thing was 16-13 Falcons in October. I skated with Atlanta last week against the Jets. I'm not playing them back-to-back weeks. I do think Tampa Bay is about as frisky as you could be, and they're coming off of a win. Any opinion in this one there, Isaac?
Maybe with the under. I am looking at the weather in this game too. There is rain possibly, and there's also
they're in Atlanta.
Oh yeah, I forgot they're in Atlanta. They're in the dome
Close
ski.
that butthole of a dome.
Yeah. Well, I would probably do Atlanta. At home. What -1.5?
Yeah.
I
If you
don't.
twisted my arm, it'd be Atlanta.
I don't think Tampa. I mean, they don't look that great. Their offense is just Mike Evans and White.
Rashid White.
Atlanta's got a pretty good defense overall. I know their passing defense is pretty solid. So yeah, I feel like the Falcons will probably be able to cover the 1.5 at home.
Yeah, I think they do. I can't roll the dice on the Falcons 2 weeks in a row. This next one is interesting to me, and it's going to hit close to home for us. It is an NFC North divisional matchup. Opened up at 5.5 for the Lions. The thing is down to 3, teetering on 3.5. Chicago is starting Justin Fields this week. I actually do have a decent opinion on this. Lions, they barely covered against New Orleans last week. We talked about weather. We're looking at 20-plus mile-per-hour winds in Chicago.
Yeah, I see that.
Sunday, I love Justin Fields rushing overs. This is a panic game for everybody trying to save their job, including Justin Fields. I think they pull out all the stops. Obviously, they're a much better team when he's running the football with design runs. I wouldn't lay more than 3 with Detroit. I'd probably pay up for money line if I wanted to take a side, but I'm going to be taking Justin Fields. I don't think there's any props.
What is his rushing?
I don't think there's any props yet. They have not released.
It's going to be somewhere around 50 probably. So
I would, if I had to handicap it myself, it's 57.5. But I don't think they've released props for Sunday. They usually, this is right around the time that they do. So let me just take a peek because that would be probably one of my favorite picks of the week is depending on what exactly it is. And they do have some. So right now, looking at rushing yards for Justin Fields, 60.5. So I was 3 yards short. So
okay.
Yeah, I like him rushing over 60 yards. They don't even have any Chicago Bear running backs involved in the props at the moment. They've got 2 running backs in Detroit, obviously, with Montgomery and Gibbs. So Gibbs is 40.5. I don't hate having Gibbs. Montgomery also against his old team at 61.5. I think all the rushing props in Chicago are live on Sunday.
Yeah, the Fields rushing one I like. Another one you could probably look at is with the wind in factor is in the way that the Bears play is they do check down the running backs quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
You could probably look into Roschon Johnson or like Khalil Herbert receptions, possibly yards. I know Roschon Johnson destroyed his yards receiving one last game. It was like 6.5, and he ended with like 43. So
sure,
I know he gets a lot of targets in the backfields, and I know they're not going to probably throw the deep ball, so that'd probably be something I'd look at too.
Yeah, Detroit. Detroit's got a really good rushing defense. They had a good rush defense through the first 4 weeks. Actually, through the first 6 weeks, they had 5 of them. They held. Through the first 7 weeks, 6 of the first 7 were held under 100 yards. Then Chicago rushed for 183 against them on the 19th. 109 against Green Bay, 113 against New Orleans. So teams are starting to open it up a little bit on the run game against Detroit. And as we know with Chicago just likes to run the football because that's really all they can do. So I think all rushing props are alive in Chicago. I think we're both on the same page with that one. Moving on to probably one of the more interesting matchups of the weekend, just because I have no idea what the hell to think about the quarterback matchup. It is the Jacksonville Jaguars against the Cleveland Browns.
I knew you were going to bring that one up.
CJ Beathard against Joe Flacco. It is currently Joe Flacco.
Joe Flacco is crazy.
Laying 3 against CJ Beathard.
Likely rain, 21 mile per hour winds. This is going to be an ugly one, man.
The total is 30.5. So Vegas knows that this is going to be ugly as shit. Right now, it's teetering actually on Cleveland moving outside of 3, which that might be a Jacksonville play. Beathard actually looked okay when he came in after Lawrence went down. To me, I actually like Jacksonville. I teased Jacksonville all the way out to 9. So I will see how that works out. I think that Jacksonville obviously has a lot to play for. Again, I'm fading Joe Flacco. Throws a pretty ball, but he's not going to – he doesn't have – and I think, if I remember correctly, Amari Cooper is – let me just double check. Yeah, he's questionable. He was out last week. He's questionable for this week. They're banged up. Marquise Goodwin is also questionable. He's in concussion protocol. I mean, this is a really, really
raining, fellow wind. I would look into fucking probably passing unders on this one, man.
Yeah, you could go passing unders, game total unders.
Game total unders.
That's for
anything under, I think.
Well, right, yeah, you could just I would say that's not the sharpest.
Maybe not rushing stuff.
Yeah, maybe not rushing stuff. Jerome Ford, definitely take a look at his props too. So I think we both have tapped out on that one. But I do like Jacksonville teased out to 9, just because you're telling me that Joe Flacco is gonna lay 9, not in 2024 almost.
No.
Not gonna happen. Next one, Colts Bengals. This is another interesting matchup. The Bengals shocked the world over last weekend, or on Monday rather. I have no idea. This is weird to me that Cincy's all of a sudden not as cooked. They're still 6-6. Indy's currently the 7th seed, game and a half back of Jacksonville, but I'm not really sure what the fuck the Bengals are. Are the Bengals decent now that they is Jake Browning going to be serviceable? I'm not going to be caught with my pants down fading the Bengals again, so it's not betting. This one. Any thoughts on that game for you?
If I'm betting this game, I'm probably looking into a prop. I know the Bengals passing defense is pretty atrocious, so maybe some Minshew magic.
You figure to Minshew right now. You look. I actually wrote down where'd it go? Oh, the AFC South odds right now. Jacksonville is still -200. Houston is +300. Is Indy worth a sprinkle at +500, being only a game and a half back?
It's possible.
I mean, it's very possible. Very, very possible.
But
Indy's got. I'm trying to. Oh, I don't have their schedule up here, but yeah, I don't know. Indy's an interesting one. Minshew is obviously the new. I thought, I think I said it on this program that Josh Dobbs is the new Ryan Fitzpatrick. No, I think it's Gardner Minshew, and I don't know why I even thought it would be anybody else. But no, that's really all I have for that game.
I would look into Minshew props, maybe like a Pittman or something. Something with against the Bengals secondary, because they've allowed like 3,300 yards this year. So
sure, absolutely. Let's move on to the Rams and the Falcons. Interesting game here. This thing is currently the Rams are getting 7. Some disrespect for the Rams, who have won 3 straight. The Bengals. The Ravens are good. The Ravens are very good. However, I mean, I don't think this is a blowout. I don't think the Rams are just going to roll over.
Did you check the?
Oh, buddy, I know. I'm getting there.
Yeah, this is going to be
about as bad weather as it gets, and the total is 40.5. I locked in the under last night. I'm very happy with that under. I think, I got it written down. I thought rain in the forecast.
Definite rain and 20-mile-per-hour winds.
20+ mile-per-hour winds. This is an interesting one. Now, McVay, I think we both can agree Sean McVay is one of the better overall game planners in the NFL.
Yes.
So McVay does a really good job, I think, of the team that they're playing that style, or a style that can compete with that team. Well, the Rams, an interesting little trend that I saw here, 14 of the Rams' last 16 games against AFC North opponents have gone under. Baltimore also, 10 of their last 13 home games have gone under. We talked about the weather. This is an under game every single which way. I don't know how anybody could tell me otherwise. I get it. The Rams have looked really good. 36 against Cleveland last week, 37 against Arizona the week before. But Baltimore's defense is solid. Baltimore's defense is really solid. And the Rams are beat up. Higbee's questionable. Puka Nacua is questionable with a shoulder. You look at Baltimore right now. Humphrey looking like he's going to play. So they're getting healthy on the defensive side. I like the under. I like the under. I like the under. So other than that, in that game, I think rushing props with Lamar is not a bad idea either.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
With the pass rush that LA can generate, I do think getting him and having designed runs for him is definitely going to be part of the game plan. So moving along to another ugly game, Panthers and Saints. Yuck, yuck, yuck. Currently, this game is, I believe, Saints 6.5 as my screen's loading up here. It was 4.5, then it was 5.5. It is now 6.5 as the Saints are the favorite. I mean, Carolina sucks. And the total in this is 37.5. I don't feel like taking up a bunch of time on it. Nola is spiraling. They've failed to cover and lost 3 straight. Carolina, they may play hard for an interim coach. They covered against Tampa, but, dude, I got nothing in this game at all.
Yeah, I don't know about this one. It's an ugly one, to be honest. I don't even know prop side, like Bryce Young to throw a pick, maybe.
Yeah, Bryce Young to throw a pick. You could definitely sprinkle that. He is kind of a turnover machine.
I know the Saints. Let me see here. Saints have actually the second most interceptions on defense this year at 14. So
not a bad look. Not a bad look. Carolina right now minus 200 to get the worst record in the NFL, which unfortunately, Murphy, they don't have their first pick because they sent that to Chicago so they could get this kid who's going to give them the worst record. I mean, it's that I mean, talk about a fleecing. We don't need to get into that trade too much. Let's move it back here. I'm talking 3:00. We're moving on to the we get a pretty good balance in the schedule this week. I'm looking at 1, 2, 3, 4 late games, and the late games actually get pretty decent. Starting Minnesota at Vegas. Maybe not the best game in the world, I guess, if we're talking about it. Minnesota did open around a pick 'em. It is now up to Minnesota -3. I think that was a look-ahead line, so I wouldn't worry about that too much. But, yeah, I don't know. What I do know is the Raiders are playing hard for an interim coach, and Minnesota has lost 2 straight, including maybe the worst football game I've ever. I never watched it, actually. I never turned on that 12-10 game. I watched the Gamecast.
That was disgusting.
It was horrible. I had Minnesota in that one +3. It was terrific. I was skating by both these teams off a bye, though. Sounds like Jefferson's back for Minnesota. Something to look at for you and your props. Raiders have allowed 870 passing yards in their last 3 games. You look at Jefferson, you look at Addison, Hawkinson. I would say you're going to be able to buy Dobbs as low as you could buy him after 3 interceptions. So I would probably look at some Josh Dobbs props, but I'll let you talk a little bit about it as I pull those up.
You could probably do. Well, honestly, Madison looked really good against the Bears. And the Raiders. I know the Bears' rush defense is pretty solid. Bears rush defense is solid. Raiders' rush defense is horrible. Could look into Madison or Ty Chandler props. They'll probably cover their yards, one of them at least. And theirs are usually set pretty low, so
Yeah, and right now I'm looking at Josh Dobbs, 230.5 passing yards. I really like that line. Over 1.5 passing touchdowns is plus money.
Do you
So
have the
yeah,
running backs
yep.
yards?
So right now, Madison, if you want to get Alexander Madison, is 51.5 rushing yards. So
Is there Chandler's on there?
Chandler is not.
Okay.
Chandler is not. You can get longest rush for Madison over 13.5 yards as well. But yeah, no, I think it's a game we both are looking at props on. I don't think I'm going to lay 3 with the Vikings. That seems like a little bit much, especially after what we just saw. If what we just saw against the Bears was not a fluke, I'm not
Yeah.
getting caught in a Raiders blowout of the Vikings and having to be upset because obviously you and I have a rooting interest against the Vikings. So yeah, I think this is it's not going to be a great game, but it's a game that's going to be on at 4:00. We'll probably see that game on Red Zone a decent amount. The total is 40. I think we actually do see that game a decent amount on Red Zone. I could see that going over as well.
I think the Vikings want to do a little more this week than what happened last week.
I think they spread it out. I think you have to. I think right now Vegas has a really good pass rush. You're either going to spread it out and get quick stuff. I mean, dude, having Jefferson back is massive. I mean, we're talking a top 2 wide receiver in the league, top 3 if you really want to play that card if he's a little banged up. But I don't know. To me, it seems like Minnesota and the over, but I guess we'll see. Seahawks, Niners. This thing an interesting line. Seattle hanging tight with Dallas last week. This week, not a lot of love, man. 10.5 point dogs. 10.5 point dogs. Total is 46.5 in this one. This one, it feels like a lot, but it was a 31-13 ass kicking on Thanksgiving. San Fran, I think, can we agree San Fran is unfortunately the best team in the league? I think everybody kind of, especially after last week. But at the end of the day, even though they are the best team, blowing out a divisional opponent twice in 3 weeks, dude, that's hard, especially in the NFL. And a 10.5 point spread means Vegas sees this thing being a blowout, even with Seattle hanging with Dallas. Part of me wants to do it, man, but if Vegas has that much confidence in San Francisco to blow them out again, who am I to say? I don't know. I'm a little torn. I'm going to pass. Close game wouldn't surprise me. Anything on you there? Obviously, there are a lot of prop options for the 49ers against an objectively bad Seattle defense. I'm going to actually pull those up right now because...
Yeah, this is a game where you hammer McCaffrey on a defense that's allowed 1,500 rushing yards on 15 touchdowns. So
rough.
I would definitely bet McCaffrey, probably maybe in any time.
Well, it wouldn't be any time. That's minus 400 this week.
Yeah.
Plus 150 if you wanted to score twice. Looking at the passing yards for Purdy, 257.5.
You could parlay the anytime with maybe like something else, or you just touch maybe his yards or something.
Find something you like. 79.5 rushing yards for McCaffrey if you want to take it there. Receiving wise,
what's rushing and receiving? Is there a combo?
Combos. Rushing receiving is 114.5. I like that number. But you do have to wonder if this game gets out of hand, do they pull him back? Because we're getting late in the season.
Yeah, true.
That's something you got to consider as you're taking some of the higher props on some teams that might be in blowout position. Let's talk 2 more Sunday afternoon games, probably the less interesting of the 2. But it is one that I have action on. It is the Broncos going to the Chargers. Murphy, why is this even a close spread? I took Denver plus 3 I've not been happier. LA won and covered, scoring 6 points. I couldn't have been quicker to grab 3 points. You look at the Broncos. I shit on the Broncos for weeks. This was a bad football team for like a month. And then they go on this run where they easily could have won 6 games. They tripped up last week against Houston, a great team, in my opinion. But they beat Kansas City, Buffalo, Green Bay, Minnesota, Cleveland. Every single one of those teams are in playoff contention right now. The Broncos are good. And the Broncos getting 3 points in a place where there is no home field advantage at all. That means that Vegas, I mean, what do they think? Denver's a 4-point, 5-point dog? I don't know how you grade home field advantage for the Chargers. I think Denver could win this thing outright. You look at the money line if you like plus signs, but I'm going to take a field goal anytime I can take a field goal. LA's lost 4 of the last 5 in division. This screams Denver to me. I don't know. Do you feel as confident? Do you feel as strongly about that, or do you think?
Yeah, honestly, man, the Chargers they're horrible. So
they're terrible.
Yeah, I would think Denver would be a safe pick. I definitely cannot put my faith in the Chargers. So, especially that 6-0 game, man. After seeing that shit, holy fuck, their offense didn't even do anything.
It's bad. Like, it's as bad. And the Chargers have personnel. That's the thing that probably pisses me off the most. Is it's not like it's all bad players. It's Justin Herbert. You know how many NFL franchises would just roll over and die for a Justin Herbert?
Yeah,
Chicago.
for sure.
Chicago. It's crazy, man. It's just absolutely absurd how mismanaged they are. There's no fucking way that I'm blanking on their fucking coach's name, but no way he has a job next year. Brandon Staley.
If we talk props in this one, I probably would do Russell Wilson over 1.5 touchdowns.
I like that.
Chargers secondary is fucking horrible, and I don't give a shit if Zappy didn't do anything last week. Zappy's horrible, so
sure.
I think that Russell Wilson can definitely throw 2. He's definitely better. He's definitely better than fucking Zappy. If you wanna,
what's the price on 2 touchdowns?
Price on 2 touchdowns. Let me check. If you want to get crazy with it, you could do 2 touchdowns, and then you could put Cortland Sutton anytime in with it for some possible big money there. Shit won't load. What the fuck?
I'm just writing it down because I actually really like that, and I'm assuming it's a decent price.
You gotta assume, if you're willing to take a slight risk and sprinkle a little bit, you gotta assume that one of them's a Sutton.
Yeah, absolutely. Right now, plus 124. I love that at plus 124, just with Russ himself. If you go with Russ and Sutton.
Yeah, what's Russ and Sutton? I would say that's a decent 2-leg parlay for that game. I'm not even gonna lie. I might even throw something on that.
If you want that, that is gonna be plus 464.
Okay.
I thought that'd be higher.
But I guess you think it would be, but Sutton's gonna be the main guy. But
they like Sutton to score. So last Sunday afternoon game is probably the game of the early Sunday slate before we get to the primetime stuff. Bills catching 2 on the road at Kansas City. Total's 47.5. If the weather's halfway decent, I'm playing the over. It's 41 and partly cloudy with some light winds. Casey's defense, Murphy, we watched them get absolutely busted up last week.
Yes,
the defense, not much better. Von Miller is likely out. I don't know if you heard about the Von Miller stuff.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Yeah, not good. Not good at all. Oh, let's let everything come out, I guess. I should cut that. If this thing creeps to 50, it's a good sign. That means that the weather's gonna get better. Sharps are gonna start hitting it late. It's actually now up to 48.5. So it was 47.5 when I looked at it last night. It's now 48.5. So it is creeping towards 50. I like the over a lot. I don't think it's I don't know if it's a close game. 2.5 seems a little, 2.5 seems a little tight. I think Kansas City should get a little bit more love. I also think Kansas City should pick up Zach Ertz, but that's another conversation. But what is your thought on America's game of the week?
Crazy. I just saw the Kansas City Chiefs defense get carved up with my own eyes, so that was pretty fun to watch.
Mm-hmm.
I would say I like the over 2. You'd expect high scoring here. Kind of both not the greatest defenses, and these are some high powered quarterbacks that can throw the rock.
Yeah,
If
and
needed.
Patrick, for as much as the Packers fucked up the Chiefs defense, Patrick Mahomes did light up the Packers secondary. He
Yeah.
obviously some less than lucky drops from his receiving core, but you can only expect that when you rely on MVS, as we both know. But yeah, to me, it's the overplay. I'm probably going to lock this in, honestly, shortly after we get done here. I don't want it to run outside of 49. So moving on to Sunday night, probably the other game of the weekend, even though it's not technically going to be called that. It is the Eagles and the Cowboys. The Eagles got pimp slapped last week. That was, I got to shout out my boy Joey, who had Philly as his dog of the week. They are now laying 3.5 once again, and it looks like they're going to be laying close to 4 shortly against the Dallas Cowboys. Now, the Dallas Cowboys played a tight game against Seattle. They didn't cover last week either. Total in this one, though, is what caught my eye. 53. It is now at 52 as a consensus. Interesting game to me. I'm not going to probably have action. I haven't been betting a lot of Sunday night games. I don't stay up for them anyways. And it's like a lot of the times, unless you're betting the unders, it's really not worth it. But I'm not betting a Dallas under. I did that last week. It didn't work. But obviously, again, a lot of props available. I'm sure a guy like you is salivating.
Oh, yeah. For something like this, especially with a really, really bad Eagles secondary.
In a dome?
In a dome, you're going to think CeeDee Lamb probably right off the bat. So I'd take a look at Lamb, maybe touchdown or reception or yards. Safest would probably be receptions because he's gonna get the ball. Obviously yards are never guaranteed, so you could get the ball 10 times but only have 30 yards. So I would definitely probably maybe look at receptions if you're on the safer side. If you like taking risks, maybe a touchdown.
Yeah, and you're looking at an Eagles defense. Fletcher Cox banged up, Zach Cunningham back up.
Listen to this. Eagles secondary allowed. Let me make sure this is right. Eagles secondary has allowed 3,341 yards and 27 touchdowns.
That's a borderline Pro Bowl season, and we're in week 14.
Yeah. So 27 touchdowns, only 6 interceptions. Their secondary is horrible, safe to say, pretty much.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, you look at from a defensive standpoint, the last 2 weeks, 456 against San Francisco, 505 against Buffalo.
If you're looking for some stuff that's going to have more value that could very well happen, you could look into like a Ferguson touchdown, maybe if Ferguson first touchdown score possibly. Just depending on how much people want to risk and type of risk they want to do.
Sure. Yeah, Cowboys haven't lost at home yet, man. This is an interesting.
Safe bets are going to be maybe Dak passing, CD reception.
Sure.
Probably the two best ones.
Yeah, I don't know what Philly throws at CeeDee Lamb to slow him down. Seems like nobody can do that. I thought the Seattle secondary was pretty good, and they got absolutely yorched. So
I actually think I have a four leg prop parlay I'm gonna make for that game.
Yeah, get yourself a sleeper slip, brother. Alrighty, let's talk Monday night because we get a double header. I don't know why we get a doubleheader, but we get a doubleheader on Monday night. This rocks.
I was just looking at that and wondering the same thing.
It's one of those things that I'm not going to complain because it's extra football. And Murphy, I think I've got a really good teaser for Monday night. With a 6-point teaser, you tease the Packers down to a half, which they're about to move out to -7. So this may not be good enough by the time you hear it. May need to do a 6.5-point teaser. And then you tease Miami. Tease Miami down to 7.5. You can actually get that down to 7 now as it's settled at 13. I think Miami blows out Tennessee. I think Green Bay takes care of business. I don't know if we blow out the Giants. It's
it'd be dope.
Packers are riding high right now. Let's talk Tennessee, Miami real quick. I don't have a whole lot in that game. Dude, is Tyreek Hill the MVP? Because it feels like it.
Yeah, I don't know, man. He's nuts for sure. Definitely feels like he should be.
Yeah, no, it absolutely feels like he should be. Miami is a team that just seems to throttle the bad teams. They've yet to beat a good team, so it's going to be hard to judge them. But Tennessee is not a good team. So let's talk our team, our game. We're talking Packers, Giants, Monday Night Football. We already talked about the Packers a little bit. That was as good of a feeling as any of us could have felt on Sunday night. A lot of pent-up stress and anxiety and worry if this may work. And it's like, yeah, Jordan Love's probably the guy. He's got 4 3-touchdown games, which leads the league this year. He had the league's best passer rating last week. This shit doesn't happen by accident. I am so thrilled, but you got to beat Tommy DeVito. You can't lose to Tommy DeVito after leading the league in passing QBR last week.
Yeah, no,
Bay,
he needs to come in there
and down to our health. I mean, right now, Jair, Aaron Jones, still question marks. You don't know what you have with Christian Watson. Yeah, to me, I like teasing it down to 6. I'm not going to lay 7 with this Packer team yet. I'm not quite there yet.
Did you see the running back we just grabbed?
Who?
Kenyon
James
Drake.
Robinson?
Kenyon Drake.
Really?
You didn't see that?
No, I must have missed
Packers signed Kenyon Drake. Yeah.
Doubt he's even going to be active come Sunday. He has played 1 game this year, had 1 rush for no yards. So, yeah, he's on the practice squad. We'll see if Kenyon Drake. I thought you were talking about James Robinson. We've cut and released James Robinson about a half a dozen times this year. So we'll see if Kenyon Drake can get on the field. That's great. I think he's like 30 almost. So I don't know.
Yeah, all I know is that there was a season or 2 where he was pretty good.
Oh, buddy, let me pull up Kenyon Drake. I got him right here. He definitely had a season where. Oh fuck! That's not what I wanted. Here we are, Kenyon Drake, Pro Football Reference. Now we're getting to the perfect part of the episode where we're just listing dudes and their seasons. Yeah, I mean he had some okay years. He never broke 1,000 yards for Arizona when he was 26. Yeah, he's 30. When he was in Arizona, he had 955 yards and 10 touchdowns, which great season. Do not knack that season at all. But yeah.
Yeah, he probably ain't gonna do anything crazy, but who knows?
I mean, his last year of getting full reps was 482 yards and 4 touchdowns a year ago in Baltimore. I don't know. But that's really it for me, man. I don't really have a whole lot else that I wanted to get into. Is there any other games you wanted to circle back on or any bets you wanted to double down on?
Let me take a look here at the board. We could talk about a quick little 4-legger on that one. What was that? The Philly-Dallas game?
The Philly-Dallas game. I mean, you got to go CD yards, whatever, or CD receptions.
CD receptions. You could throw in the Hurts rushing touchdown if you really wanted to.
I mean, he's going to get pushed in there.
I
would go A.J. Brown over yards.
I like that. And then maybe
give me a kicker prop. Round it out with a kicker prop. Give me Jake Elliott.
Jake Elliott
over 1.5. field goals.
Or Aubrey over kicking points.
What's his kicking points?
I think it's 7.5.
Can we get a field goal and 4 touchdowns? Oh, that doesn't even fucking get it to us. Jesus, we need 2 field goals. Is anybody getting stopped for field goals in this game? That's the big question.
Yeah, who knows?
I'm just staring at Kenyon Drake's career right now. It's not. It's very.
Yeah, that Dallas game might be a shootout, honestly.
That's gonna be a banger. I think that's gonna be a really good game.
So yeah, I would probably something with CD, Hurts, Brown, and maybe Pollard.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I do forget Pollard. I don't have him in fantasy this year. He's easy to forget.
Hurts and Pollard touchdown, and then CD receptions, AJ Brown receptions. That would probably be the same.
There you go. One. You lock it in, and I'll tweet it out.
All right, man. Shit, I probably will. I'm gonna look at. I'm gonna look at the.
For Izik, it's Jake. Appreciate everybody listening.
Appreciate it.
We will get back after it next week. See if we can maybe get a threesome going. As Murph heads back to the corp world. All right. Talk to you later there, boss.
Peace out, bro. You have a good night.
Stepping in.
Yes, sir.